first large-scale Korean cultural festival in Finland. Studying Korea through Hallyu. Korean books gain popularity in Indonesia. Mongolian traditional bow. Korean traditional performance bows American audience. The 11th Paris Korean Film Festival. Hello, welcome to Going Global. I'm your host, Jung Se-mi. I'm sure many of you have pets at home. Over in the United States, many people smiled at the story of a dog that chose her final owner and home for herself. Chelsea Lopez was on her way home after work when a big black dog followed her. She decided to look after the dog for a couple of days and eventually took her to a local animal shelter, thinking her owners would pick her up. However, with no one stepping forward, the shelter put her up for adoption, and Lopez immediately adopted her. Lopez found that the dog, now named Maggie, had diabetes and was losing her sight. But that didn't get in the way of their bond, as the two had already become family. Maggie might have lost her first family, but she's found her last family for herself. And perhaps we also need to take that brave first step to find someone who matters in our lives. On that note, let's turn to our first story today. Unlike other parts of the world, Northern Europe hasn't been swept away by Hallyu. Even so, a large-scale Korean cultural festival took place in Finland for 10 days. It is the first time that a festival lasting so long has taken place there. Let's find out more.
This is a modern reinterpretation of the Korean folk song Arirang. The lively rendition resonates with the audience. Other performers wow the crowd with never-before-seen instruments. They are all members of the Korean fusion gugak band Gongmyeong, who are performing in Finland for the first time.
Players, because they can use the multiple of instruments and in different way and make different kind of sounds. That was very interesting.
저희 음악을 소개하는 것뿐만 아니라 저희 전통 음악을 기반으로 한 음악을 소개하는 자리였기 때문에 특별히 의미가 있었던 것 같고.
This concert was part of the Korean Culture Week, which took place in Finland, where Hallyu has yet to come. While Korean festivals have taken place in Helsinki in the past, it is the first time that events were held for the whole week. Finnish fans went beyond being mere audience members and took part in K-pop cover dance performances.
Se syy, että miksi me tykätään K-popista on se, että se on niin erilaista. Se on tosi niin kuin värikästä. Se on ihan erilaista kuin esimerkiksi amerikkalainen musiikki.
The fusion of modernity and tradition brought in roughly 1,200 attendants. The festivals show the potential of Hallyu to spread in Northern Europe.
헬싱키 수도 규모에 비춰봤을 때 이 정도 규모면 성공을 거두었다 이렇게 보고 있습니다. 직접 참여를 해서 한국 문화를 손과 몸으로 이렇게 경험하는 그런 행사도 준비를 했습니다.
Encouraged by the positive response, the organizers will host a similar event next year focusing on Korean culture.
Moving on to our next story. Unlike Finland, Taiwan is considered the epicenter of Hallyu. Now, Taiwan's Hallyu is undergoing a transformation with a slightly different focus on Korea. Let's take a closer look.
The Korean movie Train to Busan opened in Taiwanese theaters 2 months ago. It generated $8.1 million in ticket sales within 10 days, making it the most successful Korean movie in Taiwan to date. The popularity of Train to Busan spawned parodies like this one, which has gained more than 300,000 views.
就不只是觉得只是一部恐怖片而已，它也让大家去看到人心险恶跟人心善良的那一面，这样子让大家觉得很可怕啊，觉得很惊恐，就是反而让大家落下很多泪这样子。
Taiwan is considered the epicenter of Hallyu, which first entered the country 20 years ago. Hallyu in Taiwan began through the Korean drama Sandglass and took on a new form through K-pop. Korean movies have recently gained popularity, with one university offering classes on analyzing Korean society through films. The class, initially open for 40 students, received 150 applicants.
좀 더 한국의 문화를 깊이 있게 이해하기 위해서 대학에서 한국 문화를 이해할 수 있는 수업의 요구가 많았고 그 요구에 부응하는 일환으로 이런 수업을 준비하게 됐습니다.
Students are writing a review of director Hong Sang-soo's movie, The Day a Pig Fell into the Well. Through the movie, they were able to learn about Korea's economic situation during the 1990s.
我觉得从电影里面学韩国文化这件事情是其实蛮有趣的，因为如果是对于一个国家的社会跟文化，如果我们通过别的管道来学，我们会觉得很无聊。可是如果是透过电影的话，我觉得我们可以用比较有趣的方式来学习到这些知识，还不错。
好像理解会比较简单一点，因为就是看的不只是一个面向，然后就有很多种不同的方向去看，就是韩国社会的面貌。
Until now, people enjoyed Hallyu just by watching or listening. Now, Hallyu is transforming into an educational format that helps people better understand Korea.
Our next story. Indonesia is the world's fourth most populous nation. As its economy grows, the middle class is showing more interest in education. Hallyu has also hit Indonesia and is directing people's attention to Korean culture and books. Let's see what kinds of Korean books were on display at the International Book Fair.
Indonesian students are reciting Korean poetry. The poignant expressions draw the attention of the audience. A separate talk show about Korean culture hosts an in-depth debate about Han Gang's novel, The Vegetarian. Korea has been taking part in the Indonesia International Book Fair since 2014. This year, 50 publishers showcased 600 books.
Stan Korea selalu menarik perhatian masyarakat dan tahun lalu ada yang menarik di Stan Korea. Setiap orang bisa menuliskan kesan-kesannya di wallnya Korea.
What stood out were the educational comics for students. The Indonesian middle class is growing due to economic development, and so is the competition for education. Subsequently, the young adult book market is steadily growing. The Y series has been the best-selling series in Indonesia's educational comics section for 8 years in a row now, thanks to its informative contents and excellent layouts.
Besarnya animo dari masyarakat untuk membeli dan membaca buku-buku pendidikan dari Korea, kami terus menerbitkan judul-judul yang lainnya yang menjadi bestseller, dan sampai saat ini berkat bantuan pembaca juga revenue dari komik pendidikan Korea sendiri sudah mencapai 15% dari total revenue LX.
마구스 씨와 같이 한국을 이해하고 한국 책을 사랑하는 훌륭한 기획자들을 많이 키워낸다면 그 한국 책을 인도네시아에 소개하는 데 큰 도움이 될 거라고 생각합니다.
The Korean section drew in some 20,000 Indonesian readers and won the Best Booth Award for 3 years in a row. Following K-pop, K-books may gain a strong foothold in Indonesia as a new Hallyu content.
Moving on to our next story. In the past, the bow and arrow was a tool for survival for the nomads of what is known today as Mongolia. However, with China's Qing dynasty introducing its own bow, the traditional Mongolian bow faded away. Now, there are efforts to revive and restore the traditional Mongolian bow. Let's take a closer look.
The cow tendon that has been drying in the sun must be hit till it softens. This is an important step in the making of a taut and flexible bowstring. It takes 7 to 8 months to complete a bow, but researcher Ropsung Nurab Mongho has been making traditional bows in order to pass down the tradition.
За ер нь бол энийг бол бүр хүнүүгөө эсгэлж авч ярих хэрэгтэй. Хүнүүчүүдээ эсвэл ер нь бол Монгол номсон бий болсон. Ер нь тэгээ нүүдэлчтэй чи ерөөсөө гол юм бол морь номсон хоёул байлаа. Тухайн үед бол оршин тогтноход нь гол тулгуур болж ирсэн юм.
The Mongol Empire ruled over the largest territory in the world during the 13th century. At that time, many said that the power of the empire came from the arrowhead, showing the importance of bows and arrows to the Mongolian people. However, following the occupation of Mongolia in 1750 by Qing China, the Mongolian traditional bow was replaced by those made in Qing China. Meng Ho regretted this aspect of history and personally sought out to revive the traditionally Mongolian bow, spreading the importance of research and restoration.
Нумсам гэдэг бол ер нь бол манай монголчуудын бол ер нь нүүдэлчтэй. Мөн хүн төрлөختний өөрийнх нь соёлын бол оюуны маш өндөр бол. Их олон мянган жилийн хугацаанд бол хийж гаргаж ирсэн ийм ондог соёлын учраас үүнийг бол одоо судалж сойж гаргаж ирэх нь бол зүйтэй юм гэж үзчихлээ энийг ажлыг бол барьж авч хийсэн юм.
The highlight of Mongolia's Nadam Festival, the country's biggest folk festival, is the archery competition. The contestants focus on the target as they draw back the bowstring. The competition has been taking place for the past 95 years, and all Mongolians feel a sense of unity through practicing archery together. We no longer have to rely on the bow and arrow to survive. However, the Mongols have maintained their pride as a people of the bow and arrow for the past millennia.
Our next story takes us to the U.S. city of Montgomery, Alabama. The Korean performance Hwangjini by an all-women troupe recently opened in the city. The performance comprised different aspects of traditional performing arts, and apparently the local audience loved it. Let's join them now.
Women dressed in hanbok, or Korean traditional dress, performed the towel dance. This performance extols the beauty of Hwangjini, the most beautiful woman of the Joseon dynasty. American audience members clap and sing along with the performers.
오늘 이 프로그램 봐서 정말 좋아했고요. 제 예상보다 더 좋았어요. 정말 황진의 인생 더 알아보고 정말 신기했고.
This show was obviously uniquely Korean. We loved seeing the different culture, into the different tones and the music, the color and the costumes, the beautiful Korean facial features, so unique.
The Korean traditional performance Hwangjini opened in the U.S. city of Montgomery, Alabama for the first time. The performers are all women and convey the artistic soul and sorrow of Korean women. The audience enjoyed pansori, or traditional musical storytelling, as well as Korean folk songs and pulmulnori, or farmers' music.
무용, 판소리, 연기, 외모 이래서 네 가지를 갖춰야만이 이 여성 국곡의 맥을 이어갈 수 있는 배우가 될 수가 있거든요. 세계적으로 우리나라만이 갖고 있는 아주 특이한 여성 국곡입니다.
The state of Alabama has a unique connection with Korea. A Korean automobile manufacturer established a factory in Montgomery in 2005, boosting the local economy. And now the plant is responsible for 2% of the state's total production. In gratitude, state politicians directly invited the Korean Traditional Music Association, who were warmly welcomed by the locals. As Alabama forms cultural ties with Korea, the locals' love for Korea is deepening.
It's time for our last story. Fans of Korean cinema in Paris have held an annual Korean film festival in the city since 2006. This year, director Kim Sung-soo and actor Jung Woo-sung of the movie Asura, the City of Madness, are invited as guests. Let's take a closer look.
The movie Asura, the City of Madness is about a fight for survival in a dark world. Organizers of this year's Paris Korean Film Festival put together a section for Korea's most popular films. Asura, the City of Madness' director Kim Sung-soo and leading actor Jung Woo-sung were present to share their stories.
한국 영화가 참 많이 이제 외국에 알려져서 한국 영화를 좋아하는 사람들이 많구나 이런 거를 새삼 느낍니다.
한국에서 온 배우나 한국에서 온 작품들에 대해서 더 반갑게 맞아주시고 좋아해 주시는 것 같아요. 교민사회를 통해서 이 지역사회에 저희 한국 영화나 한국 문화가 전파되는 것 같기도 하니까요. 그런 교민분들의 관심이 굉장히 중요하기도 하죠.
The annual Paris Korean Film Festival first took place in 2006, organized by young Korean expats. This year marks the 11th anniversary. 54 films were featured, including Tunnel as the opening movie, and Dongju, the Portrait of a Poet, a biographical movie about poet Yoon Dongju.
Et surtout, j'ai l'impression qu'il y a un bon équilibre entre les films qui ont eu beaucoup de succès et d'autres films qui sont peut-être un peu moins connus. Et c'est justement l'occasion de les découvrir avec un public français et aussi un public coréen.
Amid the growing interest in Korean movies, a record 13,000 took part in the week-long movie festival. Even volunteers faced odds of 20-1 to take part.
관객 수만 해도 1회 때는 이제 500명 수준이었고 정말 알려지지 않았고 예산도 적었는데 지금은 현재는 이제 12,000명을 넘는 그리고 이제 샹젤리제 큰 이제 극장에서 할 수 있는 정도가 되어서 상당히 많은 성장을 이뤄냈다고 생각을 합니다.
Local fans are already looking forward to seeing Korea on the big screen again next year.
I hope you enjoyed today's stories on Going Global. A Japanese CEO recently made waves in his home country over his stance of prioritizing the lives of employees. Michio Tan, CEO of Fuji Soba, believes that there is no room for growth if one is unable to share. Tan is famous for treating both part-time and full-time workers equally. And I'm sure the world can have more CEOs like Michio Tan, especially in this age when many companies treat employees as assets. Now, Going Global will be back next week with more exciting and interesting stories from all around the world. Thank you for watching.